Welcome to today's video. You know, during a conversation with a close friend, he shared something that struck me. I wish I had known these signs earlier. After 2 years of love and preparing for marriage, she said something that shocked me. I'm still not over my ex. This story reminded me of a profound quote from Marcus Aurelius. The greatest pain isn't what we lose, but our failure to recognize the signs earlier. And I'm certain that among those watching this video, many of you have experienced similar phrases. Words that seem simple on the surface, but are actually red flags, warning signs that we often overlook. Today I'll share with you 10 phrases. 10 signs that when you hear them, you should seriously consider walking away. Not to escape, but to protect your inner peace. As Epictetus taught, it's better to suffer once and learn the lesson than to suffer forever and never grow. And here's a small challenge for you. Share in the comments the most toxic thing you've ever heard from an ex. I bet many will match our list today. And if this video helps you, don't forget to leave a like so others can find it too. Number 1. I'm not over my ex. Let's start with the most common red flag you'll probably hear. I'm not over my ex. This might sound honest, even brave to admit it. But as Seneca said, sometimes the truth hurts more than lies, because it shows us a reality we can't change. Let me tell you about David, one of my clients. He spent 2 years in a relationship where his girlfriend constantly talked about her ex. She would compare David to him, check her ex's social media daily, and even bring up old memories during their dates. At first, David thought he could be patient, that his love would help her forget the past. But you know what Marcus Aurelius taught us? Don't waste time trying to change things you can't control. Here's the thing. When someone tells you they're not over their ex, it's not just a confession. It's a warning. You're not their first choice. You're competing with a ghost from the past. And here's the worst part. This ghost is perfect in their mind. They remember all the good times but forget all the bad ones. Epictetus once said, "When someone tells you who they are, believe them." So when they say they're not over their ex, believe them. Don't try to prove you're better than their ex. Don't wait around hoping they'll change. You deserve someone who sees you as their first choice, not their backup plan. What should you do when you hear this? Marcus Aurelius gives us the answer. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Don't get bitter, don't try to compete, and most importantly, don't wait. Instead, walk away calmly. Not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to know your worth. Remember this, someone who truly wants to be with you won't let their past control their present. As the Stoics taught us, happiness comes not from getting what you want, but from wanting what you have. If they can't appreciate what they have with you now, maybe it's time to create a future without them. And here's a final thought. Don't be like David, who wasted 2 years hoping things would change. The moment someone tells you they're not over their ex, understand that they're actually telling you something more important. They're not ready for you. Your time and emotional energy are precious. Save them for someone who's ready to give you their whole heart, not just the pieces left over from their last relationship. Number 2, you need to change. Let's talk about another common red flag. You need to change. Maybe they want you to dress differently, or change your friends, or give up your hobbies. It sounds like they care about your growth, right? Wrong. As Marcus Aurelius said, be who you are, not who others want you to be. Let me share a story. Mike was a guy who loved playing guitar and hanging out with his band on weekends. His girlfriend started with small requests. Can you skip band practice this week? Then it became, you spend too much time on music. Finally, it turned into, if you really loved me, you'd focus more on our relationship than your stupid band. She was trying to change the very thing that made Mike who he was. Here's what you need to understand. When someone truly loves you, they don't try to change your core identity. Sure, they might encourage you to be a better version of yourself, but there's a huge difference between growth and control. Real growth comes from within, not from someone else's demands. Epictetus puts it perfectly. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. You shouldn't have to justify who you are to someone who claims to love you. The right person will understand that your quirks, your passions, and even your flaws are part of what makes you unique. What's even more dangerous is how these changes start small. It's never big demands at first. It's tiny requests that seem reasonable. But like a frog in slowly boiling water, you don't realize how much you're losing yourself until it's almost too late. So what should you do when someone tells you to change? First, ask yourself, is this change about becoming better or just becoming different? If they want you to quit smoking, that's about health. If they want you to quit your friends, that's about control. Remember what Seneca taught us. The greatest power we have is the power to be ourselves. The moment someone tries to strip that power from you, it's time to walk away. Because here's the truth. Changing for someone else never works. Either they'll keep wanting more changes, or you'll end up resenting them for the changes you made. And let me tell you something important. The right person won't try to change you. They'll inspire you to grow, support your dreams, and love you for exactly who you are. As the Stoics believed, true love is about addition, not subtraction. They add to your life, not take away from who you are. So the next time someone tells you that you need to change, remember this. You're not a project to be fixed. You're a person to be loved. Choose someone who sees that truth. Number 3, I'm too good for you. Here's a toxic phrase you might hear. I'm too good for you. Sometimes it's said directly. Other times it's hidden in comments like, you're lucky to have me, or I could do so much better. Let me tell you why this is one of the most dangerous things you can hear in a relationship. I remember Sarah's story. Her boyfriend would constantly remind her how many other girls were interested in him, how he could easily find someone hotter, and how she should feel grateful he chose her. You know what's crazy? Sarah actually started believing she wasn't good enough. As Marcus Aurelius said, the opinions of others only have the power we give them. Here's the thing about people who say they're too good for you. They're actually telling you something about themselves, not about you. They're showing you their ego, their insecurity, and most importantly, their lack of respect for you. Epictetus put it perfectly. People aren't disturbed by things, but by their judgment about things. Think about it. In a healthy relationship, both partners lift each other up. They don't put each other down. They don't keep score. They don't hold their value over each other's heads. When someone tells you they're too good for you, they're not showing their worth. They're showing their insecurity. What's even worse is how this kind of talk can slowly poison your self-esteem. It's like drinking a little bit of toxic water every day. You might not notice the damage right away, but over time, it changes how you see yourself. You start believing you don't deserve better. So what should you do when someone tells you they're too good for you? Simple. Believe them, but not in the way they think. Believe that they're not good for you at all, because someone who truly values you would never try to make you feel less valuable. Remember what Seneca taught. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. The moment someone tries to put themselves above you in a relationship, they've shown they don't understand what real love is. Real love is about equality, mutual respect, and lifting each other up. And here's the truth bomb. Anyone who has to constantly tell you how good they are probably isn't that great. It's like someone who has to keep telling you they're rich. If they were really rich, they wouldn't need to say it. The truly valuable people in life are the ones who let their actions speak for themselves. So the next time someone tells you they're too good for you, thank them. Thank them for showing you their true colors early. Then walk away and find someone who understands that real relationships aren't about being too good for someone. They're about being good to each other. Number 4, I don't trust you. Here's something that might hit close to home. I don't trust you. Maybe they check your phone when you're not looking. Maybe they question where you've been, who you're talking to, or why you were online at 2 a.m. Sounds familiar? Let's talk about why this is a bigger problem than you might think. Let me tell you about James. His girlfriend would demand to know his phone password, question every female name in his contacts, and even track his location. At first, he thought, well, if I have nothing to hide, what's the problem? But here's what Marcus Aurelius would say about this. The first rule of trust isn't about proving you're trustworthy. It's about respecting each other's dignity. Here's the real deal. When someone says they don't trust you without a valid reason, they're usually telling you more about their issues than yours. It's like they're watching a movie in their head where you're the villain, and nothing you do can change the script. Epictetus nailed it when he said, "People are disturbed not by things, but by their judgments about things." And here's the tricky part. Lack of trust is like a slow poison in a relationship. Day by day, it creates distance. You start changing your behavior, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're trying to avoid their suspicion. You stop seeing friends, you become super careful with your words. You basically start living your life on eggshells. The worst part? It never gets better with proof. You can show them every message, take them everywhere with you, cut off every friend they're suspicious of, but it's never enough. Why? Because their trust issues aren't about you. As Seneca said, what's the root of this is not in the evidence, it's in the mind. So what should you do when someone shows they don't trust you? First, ask yourself, have I given them a reason not to trust me? If the answer is no, then you need to understand something crucial. You can't fix their trust issues by destroying your freedom. Remember this, a relationship without trust is like a phone without a battery. You can have all the features in the world, but nothing's going to work. The Stoics taught us that peace of mind comes from living virtuously and letting go of what we can't control. You can't control someone else's trust issues. Here's the bottom line. If someone doesn't trust you, despite you being trustworthy, you have two choices. Spend your life trying to prove something that shouldn't need proving, or find someone who will take you at your word. And let me tell you, life's too short for the first option. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you can fix their trust issues with enough love and patience. Some battles aren't yours to fight. Save your energy for someone who starts with trust and builds from there, not someone who starts with suspicion and makes you work backwards from guilty to innocent. Number 5, you don't make enough money. Let's talk about a phrase that's becoming more common these days. You don't make enough money. Sometimes it's direct, sometimes it's wrapped in concerns about our future, or comparisons like, look at how much Sarah's boyfriend makes. Either way, it's toxic, and here's why. I remember Tom's story. He had a steady job he loved, made decent money, but his girlfriend would constantly point out guys driving luxury cars or living in penthouses. She'd send him job postings for higher-paying positions and say things like, "I just want what's best for you." But as Seneca wisely noted, it's not the man who has too little who is poor, but the one who craves more. Here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with wanting financial security or having ambitions. The problem starts when someone measures your worth by your wallet. As Marcus Aurelius said, a person's worth is measured by the worth of what they value. If someone values you only for your money or potential money, they're showing you what they really value, and it's not you. Let me be clear, I'm not saying money isn't important, but there's a huge difference between building a future together and being treated like an ATM with legs. When someone focuses too much on what you make, they're usually not interested in what you're worth as a person. You know what's really messed up? These comments often start small. First, it's subtle hints about wanting a more luxurious lifestyle. Then it becomes comparisons with other couples. Finally, it turns into direct criticism about your career choices or spending habits. It's like they're slowly trying to shame you into becoming their personal cash machine. What should you do when someone tells you you don't make enough? First, ask yourself, are they concerned about building a stable future together? Or are they just materialistic? There's a big difference between "let's plan our future" and "why can't you buy me expensive things?" Remember what Epictetus taught us. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The right person will want to build wealth with you, not demand it from you. They'll be your partner in growth, not your financial critic. Here's the truth bomb. Anyone who makes you feel inadequate about your income probably isn't looking for love. They're looking for a sponsor. And trust me, that's a position with a very high turnover rate. No matter how much you make, it will never be enough for someone who sees you as a means to an end. So next time someone suggests you don't make enough money, remember this. Your value isn't in your bank account. It's in your character, your kindness, your integrity. The right person will see that wealth and want to build a future with you, not use you as their financial stepping stone. As the Stoics believed, true wealth is in the soul, not the pocket. Find someone who's rich in character, not someone who's only interested in your credit card limit. Number 6. You should be more like my friend's boyfriend. Here's a killer phrase that seems harmless but can destroy your self-worth. Why can't you be more like Sarah's boyfriend? Maybe they say he's more romantic, makes more thoughtful gestures, or just gets it. Let me tell you why these comparisons are pure poison. I worked with a guy named Rick, whose girlfriend constantly compared him to her friend's boyfriend, James. James takes Sarah on surprise trips. James buys flowers every week. James always knows what to say. Want to know what happened? Rick started hating himself for not being James. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The only person you should try to be better than is who you were yesterday." Here's the thing about comparisons. They're never fair because they're never complete. You're seeing someone else's highlight reel and comparing it to your behind-the-scenes footage. That perfect boyfriend they're comparing you to? Trust me, he's got his own issues. But you only hear about his best moments, never his mistakes. Think about it. Every time someone compares you to another person, they're basically saying, "I wish you were someone else." That's not love. That's shopping for an upgrade. Epictetus put it perfectly. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid for things that don't matter. The really toxic part? These comparisons usually focus on superficial stuff. They're not saying, "Be more honest," or "Be more loyal." It's always about the showy stuff. The gifts, the grand gestures, the Instagram-worthy moments. But real relationships aren't built on that stuff. As Seneca said, the things that matter most should never be at the mercy of the things that matter least. So what should you do when someone keeps comparing you to others? First, understand this isn't about you being not enough. It's about them not appreciating who you are. The right person will love your version of romance, your way of showing care, your unique qualities. Here's a truth bomb. If someone is constantly looking at other relationships and saying, "Why can't we be like them?" they're not ready for a real relationship. They're in love with an idea, not a person. They want a performance, not a partner. Remember this. You're not a backup singer in someone else's love song. You're the lead in your own story. Don't let anyone make you feel like an understudy in your own relationship. As the Stoics taught us, the only true wisdom is in knowing yourself. And here's the final thought. Anyone who truly loves you will help you become a better version of yourself, not a copy of someone else. They'll appreciate your quirks, celebrate your uniqueness, and love you for who you are, not who they wish you were. So the next time someone tells you to be more like James or any other boyfriend, Take it as a sign. Not a sign that you need to change, but a sign that maybe you need to change who you're with. Because the right person won't want you to be like anyone else. They'll want you to be more like yourself. Number 7. I can do better than you. Here's a phrase that cuts deep. I can do better than you. Sometimes they say it straight to your face. Other times they hint at it with comments like, I'm settling for you, or you're lucky I'm still here. Let me tell you why this is more than just an insult. It's a form of emotional manipulation. I remember working with Lisa, who stayed in a relationship for 3 years, with a guy who regularly reminded her that he had options. He'd point out how other women were interested in him, how his ex was a model, how he was doing her a favor by staying. You know what Marcus Aurelius said about people like this? The opinion of someone who openly disrespects you is not worth keeping. Here's the thing about people who say they can do better. They're showing you their character, and it's ugly. If someone really had better options, they'd take them. They're not staying because they're doing you a favor. They're staying because their ego needs someone to feel superior to. As Epictetus said, people are disturbed not by things but by their view of themselves. The really messed up part? The longer you hear this, the more you start believing it. It's like mental poison, slow, subtle, but deadly to your self-esteem. You begin thinking maybe they're right. Maybe you are lucky to have them. Maybe you don't deserve better. Stop right there. That's exactly what they want you to think. Want to know something interesting? People who are truly valuable never need to announce their value. It's like wealth. The truly rich don't need to tell everyone they're rich. People who constantly remind you they can do better are usually covering up their own deep insecurities. Seneca put it perfectly. The loudest barking dog is the most afraid. So what should you do when someone tells you they can do better? Simple. Believe them. But not in the way they expect. Believe that you can do better than someone who doesn't appreciate you. Because anyone who needs to put you down to feel good about themselves is showing you their weakness, not their strength. Here's a truth bomb. When someone says they can do better than you, they're actually telling you 3 things. They don't respect you, they don't value you, and most importantly, they don't deserve you. A real partner lifts you up. They don't tear you down to make themselves feel taller. Remember this. Your value isn't determined by someone else's opinion of you. As the Stoics taught us, the only true currency is self-respect. When you truly understand this, you'll realize that someone saying they can do better is actually giving you a gift. They're showing you exactly why you need to walk away. And here's the final thought. The moment someone tells you they can do better, agree with them. Not because they're right about you, but because you definitely can do better than them. Someone who truly loves you will never make you feel like an option when you've made them a priority. So thank them for their honesty, wish them luck finding their better option, and walk away with your head held high. Because someone who doesn't see your value doesn't deserve your time. And trust me, the right person won't need to be convinced of your worth. They'll wonder how they got lucky enough to find you. Number 8. My friends are more important. Let's talk about a phrase that might seem innocent at first. My friends are more important. Maybe they cancel plans with you for their friends, ignore your calls when they're out with their crew, or always put their friends' needs before yours. Sounds familiar? Let me tell you why this is more than just about priorities. I had a client named Mike who was dating this girl for 8 months. Every time he planned something special, she'd bail if her friends called. Birthday dinner? Sorry, Sarah needs help moving. Anniversary plans? Oops, girls' night came up. Valentine's Day? Well, her friend just broke up with someone and needs support. As Seneca said, people's actions speak so loudly I can't hear what they're saying. Now let's be clear. Having friends and maintaining those friendships is healthy and important. But there's a huge difference between having a social life and consistently making your partner feel like they're your last priority. Marcus Aurelius put it well: what we do now echoes in eternity. In other words, your actions show what you truly value. Here's the thing about people who always put their friends first. They're telling you exactly where you stand in their life. You're not their partner. You're their backup plan. You're the person they hang out with when nothing better is happening. As Epictetus taught us, actions show a person's priorities better than their words. The really toxic part? They often try to make you feel guilty for wanting more time together. They'll say things like, "You're being clingy," or "Why can't you be more understanding?" Classic gaslighting. They're making you question your completely normal desire for quality time with your partner. Want to know what's really going on here? Someone who consistently chooses their friends over you isn't just making a choice about their time. They're making a choice about your worth in their life, and they're choosing to put you last. The Stoics would say, pay attention to what people do, not what they say they'll do. Here's a truth bomb. If someone can't make time for you, it's not because they're busy. It's because you're not a priority. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. We make time for what matters to us. If they can make time for every friend's crisis but can't make your birthday dinner, that tells you everything you need to know. So what should you do when someone shows you you're less important than their friends? First, understand that this isn't about friendship versus relationship. It's about balance and respect. A healthy relationship has room for both. The right person will make you feel like a priority while still maintaining their friendships. Remember this: you're not asking for too much by wanting to be a priority in your partner's life. You're not being needy by wanting quality time with them. You're asking for basic respect and consideration, the minimum requirements for any healthy relationship. And here's the final thought. When someone consistently shows you that you're their last priority, believe them. Don't waste your time trying to compete with their friends for attention. Find someone who understands that while friends are important, a committed relationship needs to be nurtured too. Because at the end of the day, as Marcus Aurelius said, what we love tells us what we are. And if they love putting you last, well, maybe it's time for you to put yourself first and walk away. Number 9, I'm not ready for a relationship. Here's a classic line that's caused more confusion than a calculus exam. I'm not ready for a relationship. Yet somehow they're happy to keep all the benefits of having you around. Funny how that works, right? Let's break down why this seemingly honest statement is often just a convenient excuse. I remember this guy Dan who spent a year hanging out with a girl who kept telling him she wasn't ready for a relationship. They'd go on dates, talk every day, get intimate. Basically everything couples do. But whenever he brought up making it official, out came the "I'm not ready" card. As Seneca wisely said, actions speak louder than words and often contradict them. Here's the cold truth. When someone says they're not ready for a relationship but keeps you around, they're really saying, I'm not ready for a relationship with you, but I'm comfortable using your time and energy until something better comes along. Harsh, I know. But as Marcus Aurelius taught us, the best revenge is to be unlike the one who caused the injury. You know what's really messed up? They often follow this line with, but I really like spending time with you, or, you're amazing, I just need time. Don't fall for it. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. If someone wants to be with you, they'll make it happen. It's that simple. Think about it like this. If someone told you they weren't ready to eat but kept snacking all day, would you believe them? Of course not. Same goes for relationships. People who are truly not ready for a relationship don't act like they're in one. They don't keep you on the hook with mixed signals and maybes. The really toxic part. The longer this goes on, the more invested you become, while they maintain their convenient, not ready escape clause. It's like you're playing a game where only one person knows the rules, and those rules keep changing to benefit them. Here's what the Stoics would say about this situation. Accept the things to which fate binds you. But here's the modern translation. Accept that when someone shows you who they are through their actions, that's exactly who they are. Not who you hope they'll become, not who they say they might be someday. So what should you do when you hear, "I'm not ready for a relationship"? Simple. Believe them. Not because they're telling the truth, but because they're showing you they're not ready for a relationship with you. And that's all you need to know. Remember this. Someone who wants to be with you won't leave you guessing. They won't give you just enough hope to stick around while keeping their options open. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. And here's the final thought. Your time and emotional energy are valuable. Don't spend them on someone who's using "I'm not ready" as a way to keep you in their back pocket. If they're not ready, that's fine. But you need to be ready to walk away and find someone who is ready. Ready for you. Ready for commitment. Ready for real love. Because at the end of the day, you deserve someone who's as sure about you as you are about them. Not someone who keeps you waiting in relationship purgatory with a vague promise of someday. Number 10. Let's just keep things casual. Here's a classic line that seems innocent but hides a deeper deception. Let's just keep things casual. Maybe they say it after you've been dating for months, or right when emotions start getting real. Either way, it's often just another way of saying, "I want the benefits of a relationship without any responsibility." Let me tell you why this matters. I remember working with Alex, who spent 6 months in this casual limbo. They had date nights, intimate moments, deep conversations, everything that makes a real relationship. But whenever he tried to define things, she'd pull the casual card. As Seneca said, time discovers truth. And the truth here? She wanted his commitment while keeping her options open. Here's the thing about people who insist on keeping things casual. They often want all the perks of a relationship without the work. They want your time, your attention, your emotional support, but they don't want to give you the security of knowing where you stand. As Marcus Aurelius taught us, look beneath the surface. Let not the several quality of a thing nor its worth escape thee. The toxic part? The longer this goes on, the more emotional investment you put in while they maintain their convenient escape route. They're essentially saying, "I want you in my life, but I don't want to be responsible for your feelings." It's a form of emotional cowardice disguised as freedom. Think about it. When someone truly values you, they won't risk losing you by keeping things undefined. As Epictetus said, the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. If they're not willing to face the challenge of a real relationship, they're showing you exactly how much they value you. So what should you do when someone wants to keep things casual? First, be honest with yourself. Can you truly handle a casual relationship without wanting more? Most people can't, and that's okay. As the Stoics taught us, the first step to wisdom is calling things by their proper name. Remember this. Agreeing to a casual relationship when you want more is like accepting a part-time job when you need full-time work. You might get something, but you'll always feel shortchanged. Your heart isn't a trial membership. Don't let anyone treat it like one. And here's the final truth. Someone who's right for you won't need to label things as casual because they'll be too busy planning a future with you. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. So when someone says, "Let's keep things casual," hear what they're really saying. "I don't value you enough to commit." And then ask yourself, do you really want to invest your precious time and emotions in someone who's already told you they're not fully invested in you? Because at the end of the day, you deserve someone who's sure about you, not someone who sees you as a convenient option while they wait for something better to come along. Before we wrap up today's video, let's take a moment to reflect on these 10 critical warning signs we've discussed. From someone telling you they're not over their ex, to demanding you change who you are, to keeping things casual, these aren't just casual comments. They're serious red flags that the Stoics would advise us to pay close attention to. Remember what Marcus Aurelius taught us. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. But I'll add to that, it also depends on the quality of relationships you choose to keep in your life. These toxic phrases we've discussed aren't just words, they're windows into someone's true character and their ability to maintain a healthy relationship. Think of these warning signs like a compass, guiding you away from emotional storms and toward peaceful waters. The Stoics understood something profound about relationships. It's not about finding someone who never speaks these words, but about having the wisdom and strength to respond when we hear them. As we wrap up, I want you to remember something important. Walking away from a toxic relationship isn't giving up. It's choosing yourself. It's not about being weak. It's about being wise enough to protect your inner peace. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and share it with someone who might need to hear this. Drop a comment below with your own experience. Your story might help someone else recognize these signs before it's too late. And remember, you deserve someone who sees your worth, respects your boundaries, and loves you for who you are, not who they want you to be. Until next time, stay strong, stay wise, and most importantly, stay true to yourself.